Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of InstaGamers RAW. I'm your host, Nathan, also known as No Signal on Instagram, with a 0. I'm a lecturer of games design and a budding indie game developer. Who else do I have on my panel this week?
Hi, I'm Ellie, aka Elilu. I am a gaming influencer on Instagram. You can find me at _Elilu_. And I also stream on Twitch, where I am at Elilu.
Hi, I'm Rowan, aka Gumfist _ on pretty much everything. I am a game design student and a man who's on the end of his tether. The national animal of Scotland is the unicorn, in case you didn't know.
It's actually true.
It is, yeah. They have a magical fictional horse is the national animal of Scotland.
I hope that page you found is correct. There will be loads of Scottish reviewers now who'd be like, "You're lying, you wee shite." And now they'll be gone. Now they've left as well because just a bad Scottish accent is probably more offensive. Sorry, everybody in Scotland. Yeah, got cancelled. Yeah, I mean, just to explain to everybody on the podcast, this is like the second time we've recorded this because we forgot to hit record. So if we sound like we're all going mental, you know why. But it's InstaGamers RAW, so this is the deal, guys.
Yeah.
Let's go! We're going to discuss the Game Awards. Whoop, whoop.
Again!
Again! An act surprise and we don't know what the nominations are. Have you guys seen the nominations for the Game Awards?
I have.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, this is wicked. I mean, hopefully it was quite recently, Road, that you looked at those nominations, so they're fresh in your head.
You'd be surprised.
For those out there that might be listening, just going, what the hell is going on? Yeah, we're basically recording this in between the release of the winners, the nominees and winners for the Golden Joysticks, as voted on by the public. So the public have had their say on what they think the game of the year this year is, and I can talk about it in a minute. But we are about 2 weeks out from the critics' nominations and votes for what they think the games of the year are, and that's what the Games Award basically is. And so up for Game of the Year this year, 2022, is A Plague Tale Requiem, Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, Stray, and Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Have you guys played any of these, and do you have any opinions on them?
I played Elden Ring. I played a lot of Elden Ring. I didn't really get to play anything else on the list. Just looking at it again. No, I didn't.
It's like a speedrun of the podcast. It's great.
We're struggling.
Yeah. But there's so much content you guys have missed.
Yeah.
For the viewers. So much.
Yeah, sorry guys. We'll try and telepathically make sure you receive the good tips and skills that we gave out to no one.
Just to recap how I thought about Elden Ring. I thought it was brilliant for the first time over. I don't think I had a game in the past, like maybe 5 years, that I've had an experience that has been so like whimsical and adventurous, and something where I've been like, every time I go somewhere, I'm like, look at this brand new thing. I've never seen this before. Oh my God, what happens if I jump down here? And for that, I think it definitely deserves Game of the Year just for that first time. Now, if you asked me, do you want to play it again? I'd probably say, no, I'm good. But that first time experience, it was good. Do
you think you'll play it again next year or the future? Like some point, would you go back to it?
If the DLC comes out, or if the DLC is announced at the Game Awards, maybe.
Oh, that'd be cool, yeah. Well, it was Jeff Keighley, wasn't it, that announced... Did he announce Elden Ring? He had the trailer for it, didn't he? Remember the one where it had been gone for ages, and everyone was just like clown posting on Reddit constantly because it was just like never gonna come out. And then it didn't exist. Yeah, it was a meme. And then Jeff Keighley showed that trailer, and everyone was like, "Oh shit, it's real." Maybe that will happen again. Then maybe he's got the.
I feel like that's a possibility.
Could be.
The DLC, yeah, it'll be awesome. That would get me back in the game as well. I think.
Yeah, definitely.
I like. Oh god.
They need to do something with the Game Awards, because I've seen a lot of things where people are saying like less of like random people who we don't know being like, hey, did you know this is a streaming platform that you can do? And more, here's a game. I think the last couple have been good because they've been like, look at this, bang, here's a game. Here's here's that. And everyone's like, but it's like I was saying about Elden Ring, it got to the point that game was so big that even like my mom saw it on the news and was like, "Oh my god, like it's that game you're on about." I'm like, it's the game. And people
Did your mum start playing it though?
The last
what build she do?
She did the Elon Musk build.
Oh no, she cancelled Twitter. What the fuck?
I think the last game my mum played was like Modern Warfare 3, and that was painful.
It's actually cute that your mum plays games though. That's cool.
She attempted.
I like that. I appreciate that in a mum.
My dad's like a serious gamer. He's playing through. You know what? My dad has played more of the games of the year than I have this year.
Didn't your dad get a PS5 before you as well?
He got a PS5 before I did. Yeah, rubbed it in. And
Shout out to Rowan's dad, the true gamer. We just get your dad on the show.
I was going to say.
we got the Rowan Simpson.
But yeah, he's playing through Ragnarok at the minute. And I was like, "How is it, Dad?" And he said, "Good." So it must be all right. And he's like, "Good."
So it's channeling Kratos, yeah.
Yeah, they're very similar, boy. But yeah, other than that, I ain't really got much to say. There weren't that many games that came out this year, and basically all I played was Elden Ring, Sifu. Actually, I thought Sifu was really cool.
I haven't played Sifu.
You not played it?
I own it. It's that thing that Eddie was saying before about time.
Yeah.
The start of the Elden Ring, like you said, dominated it, didn't it? Like dominated. Yeah. I bought Sifu, I think, during the time I was still faffing about with Elden Ring because I bought the physical copy. I think it came out in digital for ages first, didn't it?
Yeah, I got the physical as well.
Cheap. The physical copy is like, when it came out, it was like about 30, 40 quid or something, but it's got steelbook and tons of stuff with it. And
it's a really interesting game. Did you play... This is off topic, but did you play Absolver, like the game before that?
I think it's the one the guy that like a mask on.
Yeah.
I think I did. I think I played it on PS.
Really cool game. More cool martial arts games. Whoever's listening, but like I played the new Call of Duty as well, and it was a COD game. It was pretty cool. You know, as an animation student. There's a lot of very good animations and like it's very like everything is weighted and heavy and it's good stuff.
Would you? There's a bit of deja vu question here, we run. Buy an Xbox if it became exclusive to Xbox? Would that make you jump ship from PlayStation? You're taking a shot every time we have some deja vu.
Yes. No, I don't think I would. Mainly because the way they worded it. PlayStation side, you know, PlayStation is nothing without Call of Duty. We need
we're pants. We need cards to survive. We're claps. Like
exactly.
Kratos ain't worth nothing. Nathan Drake might as well be dead.
Nothing. Crash Bandicoot is gone. We are gone. But
actually, Microsoft would own Crash Bandicoot if they bought Activision Blizzard.
They would, yeah.
That'd be crazy.
They're still figuring out the kinks for that, right?
Well, again, this could be a topic for another day, but that Activision Blizzard thing with Xbox, that seemed like a done deal because this has like happened so many times now. They're almost like, it's going to go through these different, you know, sort of monopoly commission things to check. But the federal one in America has just announced that they might initiate a class action lawsuit or whatever it's called, like to look into it. And that could take up to 2 years. Jeez. So Microsoft might be about to get shafted on this whole thing anyway.
So that goes into what we were talking about before, where in the court case they're both just being like, "No, I'm a widow software developer. I don't have any games. Like I'm broke." And then Xbox is like, "We don't make good games. Like they make the good games." And then Sony's all like, "No, we don't. You know." It's like a whole.
It sounds like little siblings.
They do.
It is, yeah.
Trying to shift the blame onto each other.
Yeah, it's you know, they really want
big Jim versus Little Phil.
Little Phil. But going back to the Xbox question, no, I don't think I would. Like, there's a game I really wanted to play this year, Warhammer 40k Dark Tide, which I thought was coming out on PlayStation.
Yeah, I did not know that was not on PlayStation. That's crazy.
It sucks because that was like my most anticipated game. I was like, I don't really care about anything else this year.
You're a big Warhammer guy, so that must have been like, yeah.
I am. Bit of a killer. Send me free stuff. But
free Nintendo Switch.
Oh, please. But Oh, okay. Yeah, I really wanted to play Dark Tide, but you need to take out a loan and remove a kidney to run it on a PC, and I don't have an Xbox, so I'm not going to go out and buy an Xbox for it, but I'm going to have a bit of a squabble and be, maybe have a bit of a BF about it and be like, I want to play in the game. But I'm going to
tweet about it as long as Elon Musk doesn't destroy Twitter.
Yeah. But yeah, for COD, if it left PlayStation, which it won't, it's a massive cash cow. It's one of those games like FIFA, Assassin's Creed that, they come out and people who don't really play many games or aren't in the sphere of, being a gamer will buy it because it's basically like an essential product for some people. Like I said before, it's the Hoover or the George Foreman or the duct tape.
An essential product. Without FIFA, I'll die.
Exactly. Or it will come free to play. And then they'll just charge out the ass for a lot of other things. Which
Warzone 2 dropped, did it, recently?
It did. It's fine. It's not bad. It's not great. It's fine.
It's the thing, isn't it? Like, this is the whole... They keep COD's like this, system seller, and COD is this, like a console ender if we don't get it. And it's like, everyone I talk to, like, COD's kind of, I'm very slow, but it's in a very slow decline.
It's fallen off. Well, I've been playing since I was 5 every year for, 16 years now? 17 years maybe? And I haven't missed one. Some of them I wish I did. But yeah, there was like a golden era, probably like late 2010s, where a COD would come out and people, midnight releases.
Was this before the guys jumped ship to Respawn now?
Yeah, must have been. Must have been all the COD 4 developers and stuff.
Yeah, then they made Titanfall.
Well, the children yearn for movement shooters. They don't know it yet, but they keep finding ways to hack. They want to go to the Quake mines, but I think games like a lot of games like this now though, because do you remember like midnight releases at Blockbuster where people would camp outside?
just midnight releases in general, just gone, haven't they?
That's not a thing anymore, right? And I remember every COD, like even my family members would like ring each other and be like, if you're going to the shop, pick it up, it's midnight release, get it. And that don't happen anymore. People just don't.
Yeah, sad.
It is, but the new CODs, it's fine. If people listening like shooting games, it's decent. Don't pay full price for it. It's like 70
full porridge.
Full porridge, about halfway. But yeah, that's my feelings on Game of the Year. I would vote Elden Ring because that's the only one I really played.
Cool. Ellie, how about you?
I'm going to feel all deja vu now. Can I have the vodka, Rowan?
Yeah, sure.
Did they pass it through the internet?
Thank you. Oh, it's it's changed. Anyway, yeah.
Looks like
basically, yeah, didn't look good, did it?
It's a daiquiri.
Actually, that sounds good. Right about now. Yeah. So basically, as I mentioned before we were rudely interrupted by technology, I have the only game that I have played fully all the way through from the list is Stray. I have started Elden Ring. I have just started the game before Ragnarok. I have just started the Horizon before the latest Horizon. And that's as far as it goes, really. But yeah, with Stray, I really enjoyed it, but I'm surprised to see it on the same list as those other games.
Yeah. Nice to see it on there.
Yeah, it's nice to see a good variety of games and games that maybe different types of gamers might enjoy, but also have some kind of connect between. Because I think
we said before the Xenoblade, but we've seen the JRPG on Game of the Year. It's pretty nutty. I think the last time I saw one was like Persona 5, probably.
Yeah, I can't remember that was on. I mean, I assume it would be, but I don't know. Like I said, usually the Game Awards is kind of allergic to JRPGs. I mean, they always end up in the best role playing game section, and that gets given to some kind of big Western RPG. But Eddie, what are you saying? Sorry.
I don't know. I feel like that. I mean, the only one I can have any kind of proper input on would be Stray. The things
would it be your game of the year though? Would that be?
No, I don't feel like I don't feel like I have a game of the year this year. I've played a lot of different games, but not that many from this year. But I feel like most of the ones that I have played that released this year have been kind of short and sweet. I don't feel like I've played enough variety to have much input on what I would say would be game of the year this year.
Yeah.
I feel like I need to finish more of the bigger games to be able to have more of an input. But as I was saying, it's interesting to see Stray in there with those games, because I don't know. I just feel surprised by that. But like you said, it's nice. It's one of those games where I think that a lot of different types of people could play it.
Yeah.
And by types of people, I mean different. We all kind of have different beliefs in what we are capable of as gamers. A lot of people might think that they might get scared easily or struggle with the challenges of fighting or combat within a game or puzzles or whatever. But it's one of those games where I have seen a lot of different people I know playing it, and like I said, a lot of different types of gamers as well. But yeah, the things that I kind of liked the most about Stray were the attention to detail in its kind of futuristic back alley environments.
It was beautifully made.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
I was just gonna say, I have not seen a game with that level of attention to detail in its environments for a really long time.
Yeah, agreed. I was gonna say, it's all the considering they're not a AAA game studio, like this huge studio with hundreds of employees.
Yeah.
It's the insane. Like when you go into shops in Stray, there's so much stuff in there, and then there's a bit when you go to a little library kind of book bit.
Oh yeah,
and those are books that are all arranged.
Yeah.
It must have been so lovingly crafted, hand placed. You know what I mean? Like I said, the environments are just so. The lighting is amazing as well. The lighting.
Yeah, I really love the lighting, and it is cool because of the character you're playing, where you're a cat and you have all these different ways to jump and explore, and they had to think differently with how many different types. The cat. Yeah, think how many different types of places you can get that character to actually get to. So I liked all of that, and I really liked its story. And what I tried to explain it earlier, but it's like a foretelling of a possible future that could, in some ways, be part of humanity's reality in our reality, but told through this game. And it leaves you with some weird feelings, and it kind of makes you think very, very deeply on some of the, I guess, notions or ideas of what it means to be human and stuff, which is a lot.
It's hard to talk about, isn't it, without spoiling it?
I haven't played it, and I'm sitting here like, ooh.
There's some stuff that happens that. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to. It got me really depressed. Not depressed I was miserable playing a game, but like Ellie said, when I finished playing a game and the credits rolling, I was like, I'm a bit of a wimp when it comes to crying games. I was proper it's a beautiful game. I was proper tearing up at the end. But also something happens in it where it kind of really freaked me out, and I was like, oh geez, what the hell? Just thinking of the ramifications of what happened at the end, I was just like, I kind of don't know. I kind of feel a bit scared. All I
kind of know from it is weird post-apocalyptic cyberpunky cat game, and I don't really know. It's
basically what it is. Yeah.
It's. I don't want to say too much, but it's interesting about when it was in development, and comparing it to our actual timeline as well. So,
yeah.
But yeah, it is a game that leaves food for thought, and I like that. So it has a lot going for it, but those are the two best things for it, in my opinion. But the gameplay was not bad, but I was just surprised that that game was in with the others, where the gameplay, the types of things you have to do in the game, are just a little bit smaller, if it makes sense, than in the other games. But it's a different type of game. It's just it's got its own stuff going for it, I guess.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, I was saying to you guys in the times before the internet crash,
The before times.
The before times, yeah. This is the first year really when I'm looking at this and have mostly played pretty much all these games. Usually it gets to the end of the Game Awards, pops up, and I kind of almost use it as a measuring tool of stuff that I've missed. Like, okay, like I play these games, I know they're good, but what games have I not played? And actually this year, there's only one game that I haven't played, but I actually already do own it, and it is in my list to play. So just going across like the list, and if you go on the Game Awards websites, you can sort of follow along with this. But A Plague Tale Requiem is the one I haven't played. I mentioned to you guys before, but like the reason I haven't played it is because it's not technically it's probably the most proficient game on this list. It uses all kinds of next gen rendering technology. It's got crazy visuals that are meant to be some of the best you'll see on any kind of next gen system. But the cost of that is that it runs at 30 frames per second, and I've been really spoiled with playing games at 60 frames per second upwards since PlayStation 4 Pro. I would always choose performance mode over frame rate. I don't really care about 4K or ray tracing if it's going to make the frame rate tank to below 60. And so I don't. If there's a chance of some kind of patch that pushes it to 60, then I'm just waiting for that. It might not come, and I might end up just playing it anyway. And I'm kind of happy in quotes to play at 30 if that's what it is. But it runs comfortably at sort of 40 something on Series X at the moment if you run it on 120 hertz display. So it will only take like a little bit of like AMD's FSR technology or something to push that to about 60. So I'm quietly confident Asobo are geniuses when it comes to their game engine. I'm confident that they hopefully will get a 60 FPS version in the next month or so, and then I'll play it. But at the moment, I'm just holding off and just seeing. But I do really want to play that because I loved Plague Tale Innocence. That was just such a amazing game that really came out of nowhere for me. Because that's another game where I just didn't play it at launch. I didn't play it for ages afterwards. I only played it when I had kind of gone through loads of games on Game Pass and was just looking for something else to play, and it was on Game Pass, and I was like, oh, cool. I heard of Plague Tale Innocence is meant to be good, so I'll give it a go. And I was just hooked, and it was so AAA in its quality, but yet made by a smaller studio. But yeah, like as soon as they announced Requiem, I was just like, yep, pre-order that. So I've actually got a physical copy of it sat on my shelf, ready for that hopeful patch.
In a similar vein, it gives me a very similar vibe to Hellblade. Yeah,
Hellblade's the same sort of thing where it's a smaller studio, but amazing game, just absolutely amazing for all sorts of reasons. And again, like that's a game that I think when it came out on consoles might have been 30, but over time it's got patched on PS4 Pro and patched on PS5.
There's nothing wrong waiting for a patch. I mean, most of us did for Cyberpunk, so
yeah.
It'll come out one day.
Hopefully, we'll see. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with it. Like I said, if you watch the Digital Foundry analysis of that game, like they literally say it's amazing technology. They don't seem to mind the 30 FPS cap. I think it's stable. So this is just me holding out and seeing whether I don't want to play the game, and then literally like a month later, they're like, oh yeah, there's a 60 FPS version. I'm like,
you want to play the best version you can.
Yeah, maybe I'll end up playing it on PC on Game Pass there because I'll probably get 60 FPS there. I thought.
So those damn rats.
There's 300,000 on-screen rats. It's crazy.
Eating up the RAM.
Just gnawing it. Elden Ring. We've talked about Elden Ring, but like obviously I played Elden Ring. I think most of the world at least bought it and played a little bit of it. I've even got friends that do not play Souls games, have never been interested in a Souls game. And shout out to Mike. He's playing Elden Ring at the moment and loving it. It's done for Dark Souls sort of formula what Breath of the Wild did for Zelda. It's kind of opened it up to a new load of people, I think. And I loved Elden Ring. I thought it was an amazing game. It's certainly like a 9.5 for me. It would be one of my top games of the year. I would say it's one of the best games ever made. Is it my game of the year? No, I'll get back to that in a bit. But I loved it. God of War Ragnarok, I'm currently playing, so I haven't finished that one, but I am quite far through it. I'm probably at this point of recording, I think I'm about 30 hours or 30 something hours to God of War Ragnarok.
From what I've heard, from what I've seen, there's a lot of people who it can be a bit divisive, but what I've heard is the game is amazing, carried by the narrative and the story and characters. But a lot of people have said stuff like the hand holding, and I don't know if you've seen like the clips where it's like, maybe if you use this tool on this object, you could do that, Kratos. Maybe
it's the thing that Nintendo had to learn when Navi got memed in Ocarina of Time. You know, like, hey, listen. Like, Navi, shut the fuck up. I got this. I know how to push a block. You know what I mean? Like, it's like that with God of War. It's just like there's a massive crack in the wall. There's an explosive barrel. You're like, oh, I wonder what this could be. And then your character's like, you could try chucking that barrel at it. You're like,
see, and I think that really pulls a lot of people out of the games. I think the best way they used to do it was God of War 3. There's a section where I don't remember who the character is, but there's a guy who's like, you need to burn the brambles, Kratos. And then you look at the brambles and you look at like these fire-breathing dogs. And you're like, I can set him on fire, can't I? And you set the guy on fire because it just gave you a cheeky camera angle.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like hand-holding can really ruin a lot of games for people. I mean, Horizon's kind of bad for it as well.
I'll get to Horizon in a second, but yeah.
It's the same sort of energy, isn't it? Where it's
that's different in a way, but I can address that in just a sec, because that's got a similar but slightly different problem. But no, God of War Ragnarok, that's not annoying me. Like, I know I can completely understand why people would think that. Especially if you like working puzzles out for yourself and some guys just telling you how to do it. But like, for me, God of War, like, originally I was thinking this is like a 9 out of 10. I'm really enjoying this, but it has slowly crept up. It's probably on par with Elden Ring at the moment. It's probably about 9.5. Nice. It's a fantastic game. It's like God of War. It's just so well crafted. The story's great, characters are great, voice acting's amazing, combat is just everything is slightly better than God of War. The reason it isn't a 10 out of 10 for me at the moment, and this might change, I might get to the end of it and just be like, game of the year. But right now, it is just more God of War. And that sounds like that's just more solid gold. But like, you know what I mean? But at the same time, it's hard for something to stand out and be like, oh God, this game is like the best game I played all year. When it's just like, oh, this is cool. It's like more God of War that I played in 2018. You know what I mean? Like, so that's the only reason why it wouldn't get my game of the year. Like, I put it on par with Elden Ring, but it isn't, again, it's not quite got that edge. It's not the thing it's doing that's just like standing out. It's just it's like a Sony game. It's very well crafted. Yeah. But, basically that template.
Very, quite basic, but story, characters and cinematics carry it. So you want to keep playing it.
Pure cinema spectacle, but in a game.
Kino.
One thing that I have really liked about playing the God of War prior to Ragnarok, which hopefully one day I'll get to, is just that it just kind of naturally carries you through without there being any reason for your attention to drop. And because I struggle with that, well, so far for me, I struggle with that when I'm playing games very often. Are you doing that faces in that will happen? Like I
can't. Yeah, the thing's like, I don't want to talk about this because there are law implications maybe for what you're saying, and you'll get to it.
Oh.
God of War, the first game, is more clever than God of War Ragnarok. Ragnarok's just more of the same sort of stuff. But God of War, like, by the time you get to the end, you're just like, oh man, that game was really clever. Like, keep playing. We'll talk about it another day, Ellie, when you finished it. Like, we'll spoil the heck out of it.
Okay.
And we'll talk about it.
Beautiful game. It's really good game.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
It's really well crafted. Yeah. But when you finish the first one, Ellie, like, I can talk then about some of the stuff that in Ragnarok that for me maybe doesn't make as much sense from a lore perspective because of just carrying over gameplay elements.
There's a documentary on the making of the first, not the first, God of War 4 technically. But 5, yeah. Oh God, no, we don't talk about that one.
Raising Kratos.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Racing Kratos is
great. It's brilliant.
It's a really good documentary.
Go watch it. To everyone who's listening. I don't know why I'm looking over here, but yeah.
Horizon. Let's talk really quickly about Horizon, because Horizon, I didn't actually get very far into it, so I don't feel like I can kind of tick this one off as having played it, as in like tick. I know exactly where to rate it, but like it was Horizon. Again, to explain, Horizon games always have the worst release timing. Like they just release at the worst times. I don't know if Sony do this. Someone's like send them out to die. So the first Horizon, Zero Dawn, they're like, here's this new game and this new IP, and everyone was like, oh, wicked! It's for like guys that made kills. Hang on a second, Breath of the Wild's releasing next week. Yeah. And that was it. Like I played like literally a handful of hours of Horizon Zero Dawn, and then shelved it and played Breath of the Wild, and then didn't go back to Zero Dawn until about a year later. And then it kind of, after I played it for a while, it kind of grew and grew and grew, and by the end, I really loved it. The start of Horizon Zero Dawn is pants. It's so pants.
I can't get past it. Every time I played it, I just can't get past it.
Yeah, people don't agree with me here. Like everyone's just like, no, it's not. And I'm like, for me, like the whole of I think they call it the Mother's Cradle. It's just the worst introduction to that game because it feels so rote and it feels so. This is just like every other open world game you've ever played.
I mean, I said I've started playing that game. This is the first one, isn't it?
Yeah.
I really thought I was going to enjoy it because for me, I could see a lot of similarities in some ways between Horizon and Breath of the Wild. Well, the thing is, when I was playing Breath of the Wild, my partner was playing Horizon because obviously they released at the same time. So he had his game on one screen, I had mine on the other. We're next to each other, and I'm like, "Oh, look, we're both doing this and we're both doing that." But he was further into the game. Starting the game myself, I have found it hard to get into it. I think because I'm not connecting to any of the characters. I love the idea of it. I love the premise of the world and what the story is. And obviously, having seen bits of what happens later in the game, I've got a good idea of what happens in the story. But I love the premise of it and I love how it looks. But I just have not. I don't feel like I've got any emotional connection to it or anything.
Are you still in the Mother's Cradle bit though? Or?
Yeah.
It's again like it doesn't put its best foot forward. Like it does the thing where. Because it's this huge open world game and they're following a standard template. They keep all the fun toys locked away, till you've played the game for 30 hours or something ridiculous. They keep all the fun toys locked away and they have this like kind of starting area where it's quite po-faced and everyone's just kind of like I say, the characters are just they're just there to like deliver this is what the world is like and this is what you're meant to do and you haven't done it and blah, blah, blah. And it's like really. I played that and then Breath of the Wild came out and I shelved Horizon and I was like, yeah, you don't need that game. And then when I picked it up later, I didn't start again. I decided to just pick up from my save game because I didn't want to play any of the intro stuff again because I wasn't really gelling with it. And again, I picked it up and I wasn't really gelling with it still. And it took me a while to remember the controls because it'd been like a year since playing it at that point. But once I got past Mother's Cradle into the deserty area and once the plot started to fall into place and some really interesting characters start turning up and there's some really cool will they, won't they, maybe love story type things going in. All kinds of stuff happens. And I really got into that game. Like, game really opens up, in my opinion, it's almost a game of not two halves, but the first third is come there. The last two thirds get better and better and better until the end. You just that story was so good, so massively, it touched me so deep down. And really kind of freaked me out in a way as well, the way they handled it, or why the giant dinosaur robots walk around. That's explained, and the explanation of it is kind of sad and depressing. But Forbidden West just kind of goes, right, you've played Horizon, we don't need to introduce anything, let's go straight in. And so that was much better. Literally from moment one, the game gives you loads of toys to work with, loads of fun toys. It doesn't do that thing of Metroidvanias do where they strip all your weapons away. She suffered a blow in the head and got amnesia and can't remember how to do anything. That doesn't happen. They just go everything you got in the first game, you've still got it.
Forward. I like the sound of that. That's good. And
it looks stunning. It looks so beautiful. That when Elden Ring came out and I was like, goodbye Horizon for a year. Elden Ring looked terrible compared to Horizon because Horizon looked so gorgeous and the environments were so detailed that Elden Ring looked like just kind of almost the generation before PS4 game compared to a PS5 game.
Have you seen any of the footage from the Horizon VR game that's coming out?
No, because I'm not really a VR person. I saw that they released the trailer for it. Any good?
I think it will be fun, but I really like VR.
Is it shooting dinosaurs in VR? Is that what it's like?
Well, cool. You know how vibrant the environments are, especially in the later installments.
Yeah.
It's the vibrancy. The vibrancy looks amazing. I've not had any experience of actually playing it in VR. I've only seen little bits on the internet here and there, but it just looks like it's going to be so good. And when you're climbing and stuff, you're having to move your hands and that. But I love cool. VR games, so yeah.
I mean, just to address the thing that Ryan was saying about the chattering, the thing with Horizon is that Aloy talks to herself all the time. It's kind of like the opposite of God of War, where other characters have you tried doing this? Aloy just won't shut up. Like, as you walk around, she's just like, oh, look at the sunset, isn't it beautiful? Like, yeah, it's really nice. Oh, look at the trees, like the way the trees are really nice, man. Oh, the sunbeams are bouncing off the water. Like, Jesus, man, just talking to yourself.
Yep.
Like, what the hell is she going? Is she going insane? Has she got like schizophrenia or something? Like, what is going on with the Aloy? She's just like constantly chattering to like nobody.
From what I played, it was like that.
Quite
she does it with like objectives. So when you walk into someone, she's like, maybe if I grab this and go here. And you're like, all right, I'll do it later. And it's like, maybe if I do it now. So she's like, really, she's passive aggressive, and it just makes me.
Yeah. So you mentioned Hellblade before. Hellblade, she talks to herself because literally she is like
she's
talking to herself. Yeah. So she like it makes sense. But for Aloy to constantly chatter, like constantly talk to herself, it is like everyone's asking for just a filter, just to like turn her down a little bit.
She's bored.
She is bored. Yeah, she's on a quest on her own. She's got no help. Maybe she's just chatting to herself. But like Horizon Forbidden West, I will go back to it. It's one of those games where I can't comment on whether it would be my game of the year if I actually finished and played it, because I didn't finish it. I don't think it will, but who knows? I can't make that judgment. But like, it did seem really good. It seemed a really good game. But I think it's probably. I don't think it will win any awards really because of the time it came out. I think most people would have just not played Horizon and played Elden Ring instead. Unfortunately, so it doesn't really make a difference how good Horizon was or wasn't, because I think it's going to be overlooked, unfortunately, just because Sony is so bad at releasing those games, but it doesn't conflict with like the biggest game of a generation. You know what I mean? Stray. I played Stray. I finished Stray and I loved it. At the time when I finished it, I was just like, oh my God, that game is a contender for Game of the Year, definite. You know, it really like emotionally touched me. And like you say, after the dust had settled, same as Ellie, I kind of look back at it and go, well, functionally, it was just kind of okay. It was just fine. You know, it's a nice game. It is completely carried on this whole, like you're saying, Ellie, the themes that haunt you and kind of stay with you. And you get to be a cat. That's always cool. Like, I really appreciate just being able to go in people's houses and just scratch up their sofa. I kind of had a greater respect for my cat after that, because I was like, it feels really satisfying. I wonder if he does that.
I get it.
You know? yeah, I get it. I do. You go for it, mate. You tear that carpet up. So that was cool. My game of the year is the last one on this list, which is Xenoblade Chronicles 3. It won't win because it just won't. Like, it's nice that it's on this list, but I don't think it's got a chance in hell of winning. But it is my vote. I think Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is the best game released in 2022. The reason for that is because it is the last part in a trilogy of games, and that sounds stupid because it's number 3, but like it literally, like when you finish the game, it takes 2 games which do work on their own, and they do have some crossover, but it pulls them both together into this beautiful, like, okay, that was a trilogy and it worked as a trilogy and it's got such a rewarding ending. And it takes everything that's worked about Xenoblade 1 and 2 and just doubled down on it and made this amazing gameplay experience. Everything didn't work, it's kind of shelved. It's the complete opposite of Pokemon Violet and Scarlet, in that you look at Xenoblade Chronicles 3 and you can't believe it's running on a Switch, because it's technically so proficient. You kind of go like, this is stunning. This game looks stunning. How the hell is this running on this hardware? This hardware is like archaic. We'll come to this later because I think there's a question if we get to it today. But like, for that alone, like, it's an amazing technical accomplishment. It's got an amazing story. It really emotionally touched me. The gameplay is so compelling and well designed. It's one of the best JRPGs I think I've ever played. Soundtrack is incredible. It's nominated for music all over the place. It's a perfect package. Unlike some of the other ones, like I said, like God of War is amazing, but it is more God of War. Elden Ring is amazing, but it has got some flaws. There's nothing negative about Xenoblade Chronicles 3. It improves on everything about that series of games, and it ends them. It is the final one. If they continue Xenoblade Chronicles, it'll have to be a new thing. So it ends on such a high note. It's like, done. That's it. It's an incredible series. Every one of those games has been great, but this has been the best, and we're done. Goodbye, everyone. Curtain drop.
When you
game is so good.
Mentioned Elden Ring, I think we mentioned it before. Elden Ring is great for its first experience, but it kind of loses itself after a long while, because it's like, that was brilliant and amazing, and it really like encapsulated everything I wanted. The second time through, I don't think I'm going to feel the same way, and I'm going to start seeing things like reused boss dungeons and stuff like that, where I'm going to be like, oh, they kind of Dark Souls 1'd it, where they were like, look at this amazing game, ignore the last half, but look at this amazing game.
Yeah. There's a good video by do you guys follow I think it's Game Maker's Toolkit.
I think I know what you're on about, yeah.
Or was it Writing on Games? It was one of those two. I can find it. But like either Game Maker's Toolkit or Writing on Games, one of those two channels recently did a like a kind of a little documentary sort of article thing about Elden Ring. And it talks about how the start of the game is this big open, non-linear, lots of player choice structure. And then once it gets past the sort of second half of the game, it then just turns into a funnel where there's like a linear progression. And that's the kind of weaker end to it, unfortunately. Let me just check if it's Game Maker's Toolkit. It is Game Maker's Toolkit. The video is called The World Design of Elden Ring. I recommend it. It's 20 minutes, 2 weeks ago it was posted. But that kind of sums up really well what I feel about it. I mean, the Game Maker's Toolkit guy loves Elden Ring. This all comes from like a place of love. Like, that game's amazing. I love Elden Ring. I recommend anyone goes and plays it. It is one of the best video games of the year. If you said it was your game of the year, absolutely agree with you. It is a game of the year contender, and for 100% is it a valid pick for game of the year. And if it wins, I'll be super happy. But it's not my game of the year. But like, I can see why it would be loads of people's. I think just purely on the amount of people that played it and loved it, it probably deserves to win game of the year, because it was like a phenomenon, wasn't it, when it dropped?
Yeah.
Right, leading on to our next question. These questions were sent in by listeners on Spotify. So thank you very much for people that engage with the sort of poll and the quiz at the bottom of each episode. Appreciate it. Yeah, it really means a lot. So this question was sent in by Jasmine Maya 09. Apologies if I've not pronounced that right, but I think I am. Jasmine Maya 09 said, what is your ultimate relaxation game? When you're going through stressful times, what games help you to forget and unwind? Ellie, have you got anything?
Yeah, I've kind of broken this question into two sections here. And what I was going to start with, I can remember one of many bad times in my life, but going back quite a while, when Animal Crossing New Leaf first released, that helped me through a bad time. And that was my first ever Animal Crossing game.
Is that the 3DS one?
Yeah, I actually, even though it helped me through a bad time, I still to this day feel like I didn't quite grasp exactly what I had to do in some ways, because I felt like I was missing something. Compared to all of the things you can do in New Horizons, which feels like it makes a lot more sense to me.
Yeah,
I feel like I have missed what the point was in New Leaf, but somehow it helped.
That was the point.
Yeah, maybe that was it, and I think maybe that's why it helped. But it definitely helped me through sometimes, along with some nice little tablets that the doctor prescribed. But also that whole genre of game, that was the first of that genre that I had kind of played, and since then I've played lots of kind of those kind of cozy farm sim, decorating sim type games. Disney Dream Valley has been one of the more recent ones, and they're really good for if you want to switch off and not have to think too much, but still provide a level of socializing within a game with characters, also being creative as well. So there's like different things you can get from games depending on what you need, on how you need to turn off or switch off mentally, but also how you might want to nourish your soul a little bit, or
I like that.
Yeah, or decrease your anxiety as well. But then there's I think we all probably relax in lots of different ways with all different genres of games. But then for me also, in a bit of a contrast to that, I actually really enjoy racing games as well. And I haven't really spoken about this very much on here, but I've made a little bit of a list. So I think these are all.
Yeah, we never talk about racing games, do we ever?
No, and I really like them.
I enjoy racing games. So yeah, me too.
Yeah. But yeah, so let's see what I've put here. I'm actually gonna read this bit because otherwise I'll lose my way a little bit. Sorry. I sound like I'm about to announce something important, but I'm just losing my voice. I'm just losing my voice.
Okay.
Okay, so what I wrote was, I'm not super knowledgeable or anything, but I've enjoyed Burnout over the years. I've been playing my way through Dirt 5, scratched the surface of Forza Horizon 5, and most recently, I've been playing Wipeout Omega Collection in VR, and it has been one of my favorite gaming experiences ever. I'd also recommend Jack X. It's more arcadey, but it's addictive, has lots of game types, and a humorous cast of characters. But yeah, that's what I wrote down. We can talk about those games if you want.
That was epic.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's like some kind of a politician speech. I'm ready to vote for you. Just basically on racing game stuff. That sounded cool.
Yeah. But yeah, I've enjoyed all of those so much. But I think for me, with the love for racing games probably comes from when we first got our PlayStation as the family console, and we got SSX, and that was me and my brother having time with our dad was playing SSX. So I think that's where the love of it came from, because we had very competitive games. Dad was always like, I'd never lose at Elysium Alps. But he did. He still says it to this day. Dad. He still says it to this day. And even last time he was at my house, I just whopped his ass at them. But yeah, I think that's where my love of them comes from. And I don't know, some of them, sometimes you just want to dip into them. I think as well, they are a stress reliever for the real stresses of life. But then, because I get quite competitive in them, I do turn into a different person a little bit, and I do get told to calm down and not swear so much, not be so angry because it's scary.
Fair.
Yeah.
What happens when you get blue shelled in Mario? Do you just that's it, I'm done?
Mario's different. Mario's just it's not really. I mean, it is a racing game, but it's not the same. It's not the same.
It's rage inducing sometimes. Mario Kart 8.
I don't know.
The least relaxing game.
No, I just laugh at it. It's just funny and silly. But these are the ones. They mean something to me. They make me. They make me feel something different. Yeah.
She'll kill a bitch over Burnout 3 takedown. She'll kill it.
But I was going to say, it was weird with the Wipeout Omega Collection. I started playing that through and had nearly actually completed the game without the VR headset. In 2020 I was playing it. And I just hyper focus on it. I'm do not blink while I race. And I did pretty well. I put the VR headset on and I was expecting it to be so bad. I thought I'd get motion sickness. I thought I wouldn't be able to win any races. But it's weird. I don't know if anyone listening has played it with the VR headset. Please let me know if you have, because I want to speak to someone about it. But I did better. I wasn't just passing. Cool. I was getting
look around the cockpit, or
yeah, you can look around the cockpit. You can kind of look out the windows, and
that's really cool.
It's amazing. You can hold your arms up and see your arms. I love it. But
can I just ask, Eddie, is it the whole game can be played in VR, a Mega Collection? Every mode, every game, everything, or is it a specific thing?
Well, everything that I've played on it so far, but I haven't played the whole game through yet, so I'll have to let you know on that. But it is amazing.
You did the zone mode in VR, Jay? The zone mode is that one where it's it looks really abstract, like colours.
Oh, yeah, yes.
And it gets faster and faster.
Yes, I love that. Yeah, that's one of my...
That's peak relaxing, because that's just you get proper trance by it. It's as it's just wham, we're getting faster and faster.
It's phenomenal. I love it so much. But yeah, what I was going to say was I'm not just I'm not just passing on the majority of them. On the ones where I am passing, I'm getting elite status. So I don't think I'm particularly good at playing. That's not what I'm trying to say. But I'm surprised that I'm not worse with the headset. I thought I would be a lot worse. But it doesn't make your gaming experience harder somehow, which is what I was expecting. But yeah, I love it. It's so good. I love the zones. They're great.
I would be well up for playing the zone in VR, because that's kind of it's trance-inducing anyway. But imagine if you're immersed, that would be incredible.
I do pretty well on that one.
But it kind of it just Wipeout's one of those funny games, isn't it? Especially the zone mode, where once you hit a certain level of playing it, or playing it for a while,
or a certain speed,
a certain speed, it just becomes like almost like muscle memory. You're not even thinking anymore. You're just letting your body sort of react.
Yeah.
Otherwise, like the only reaction time to kind of go, there's a turn coming up, I need to turn. It's just your body just does it.
I think there are some games like that where you need to not think. Like you have to know the game. It's like being in the zone, or like feeling zen or something. It's like you're thinking, but you're not thinking. I think some people get that when they're driving as well, a little bit to a degree. Obviously, not quite like not quite like in that game. No, but do you know what I mean? Like it's almost like because you've learned it and it's muscle memory. Obviously, you're hyper vigilant about what your dangers are around you and things like that. But it's almost like you're almost one with the machine, where your body's just doing what it needs to do to press all the things. You don't really think about that aspect of it so much. It's more that your eyes are doing most of the thinking, whereas your body is doing just what you've taught it to do.
I think I'm going to be paraphrasing this. There's something I think it's called laughs theory. They use it a lot. Fighting games talk about it a lot as well. It's like 3 different types of players, where it's there's like the heart, the head, and the muscle. It can go like you can translate it to many things. I know it through fighting games because there's a really good video on it, and like what you're saying, some people actively think when they play, and they go like, "I've got to do that, I've got to do that." Whereas heart, people who go into the heart theory are people who are more likely to just play off responses, where you can just shut everything off and just kind of go, "Okay, I'm in this zone where I'm unfeasible. Like you can't knock me out of it, and I'm just there." And I don't really.
That's cool.
I think as well. I was going to say something, but what you said links onto it is. Excuse me while I burp.
We'll cover it.
That's why I keep pressing my microphone here. Just got to go because I've been drinking Coke all night, and it's just.
I'm having
podcasting
orangey flavoured belches. What you were saying kind of links onto what I was thinking already. Do you remember the games like Guitar Hero and GarageBand? For the people that get really good at that, they must be the hard players, because it's like you get into this flow where if you think hard about what you're doing, you're gonna mess up. But if you do the not thinking gaming, it kind of works.
Just let your fingers move. Yeah.
I have a really vivid memory of my dad playing Guitar Hero when I was a kid. I think it was like Guitar Hero 3. It's just came out.
That's a good one. That's probably the best one.
It's the best one. It's the best one.
That or Metallica. Guitar Metallica was pretty
That was a good one too. It's a good one too. my dad, I remember him playing, and it was painted black, and he smashed it. And then, at the end of the song, you have like a couple of seconds just to, bask in your glory. He went like that, and then all his points went, and he failed. After 100% in it, and he just went,
just freestyling it.
Yeah. No. And I just to this day I can just remember him. He just went, and then his score just went, and then just failed. And it was
the
like
virtual crowd will love this, like shredding the guitar. And it's just like
they were booing him at the end, and I was like, and that's like a vivid memory.
Did he ever get that 100% back?
Maybe he was like addicted to that game. I loved it. We had like all the guitars and the drums and stuff. It was really cool.
Me and my friends used to meet up every night after like sixth form or something. Like there was a few of us in my year, and then a few of us who were like 2 years above who used to hang out. And that was our thing. Like every night for a good few months, we'd get together, just have a few drinks and play that.
Awesome. Awesome. Did you ever play the DJ one while I'm here?
Yeah, but
I thought it was okay. It was okay. Not as good.
Rowan, how about you? What's your relaxation gaming?
So, before I go into like what I usually play, I'm gonna shout out a game that's just came out, and it's so simple. There's literally you have to move one thing to play it.
It's Bratz, isn't it? Oh, no.
Bratz is Vampire Survivors.
Oh, yeah. I've got that downloaded on my Xbox ready to go, but everyone keeps saying, play it.
It is fucking awesome, right? It is just it's so simple, right? I play it literally just with a mouse, just only the mouse, and I just drag it left to right. It's like a...
Because it auto-fires, isn't it? And you just move your character around, and it's like a reverse bullet hell, like you're the bullet hell.
You're the bullet hell, and things like come into you. It's so simple. And I found myself, I think if I look now, I've got my Steam up. I think I've already got about 8 hours on it, something like that. And it's just a game. Again, you can just turn your brain off. I can be talking to people on the call and just be like, yeah, move left, move right, move left. It's perfect for that. And you would be surprised because I was like, everyone's like, there's no gameplay to it. And it's like, that's what I want. It's a good game to stream.
People really rate that game. It's got loads of, like, again, on the, I don't think it's on the Game Awards, like, the critics haven't nominated, but on the Golden Joystick, it popped up loads of times. I think it won. Did it win something? Yeah, it won Breakthrough Award. It won the best sort of debut game this year.
It's so surprising how, because there's not really much input. You kind of pick your power ups and stuff, and it's just that satisfaction of just seeing all these monsters explode, and you just being like, "I did that. I did nothing. I did that." But yeah, just shout outs to Vampire Survivors. It's a great.
Is it like £3 as well?
It's like £3. It's worth every.
Because remember, I was just like, "Oh, it's on Game Pass," and someone was like, "Yeah, but it's like £3, bro. Like, you can just buy it."
I'm looking now; it's £3.39.
So, how generous of Game Pass to give it for free.
And it's also overwhelmingly positive. I recommend it. As for like relaxing games, kind of the opposite to what Ellie was saying. I kind of want games where I can just shut my brain off, bright colours, and shooting things, and arcade shooters, co-op shooters like Deep Rock Galactic.
I've played that, but I heard good things.
Awesome game. Vermintide 2, just like horde shooters, things like throw a million things at me and just blast them.
It's comforting sort of gameplay.
Yeah, I was into Earth Defense Force for a while, just stuff like that. Just like games where I can just grab a controller or a mouse keyboard and just sort of sit there going and just shooting hordes and watching things blow up. They're easy, they're not too difficult. Stuff like that.
Things go boom.
Things go boom. That's how I relax. I've also must tell people I do have ADHD, so that might be a part. That might be a part of that.
I just want to see things explode.
I just like colours and loud noises. But I guess if I want to slow down, I like games like Plague Inc. Plague Inc.'s another good one. Kind of plays itself, and you just have to make decisions. I like a lot of games where decision making with outcomes. Just like it plays itself. Will you pick this or this?
I go, like Walking Dead kind of thing.
Well, nah, because Telltale's more like invested. Where I'm like, oh god, I'm gonna cry. Whereas,
right, yeah, okay.
I'm trying to think of a game that does it.
A game called Reigns.
Maybe.
It's kind of weird. It like they basically, the games designers were like, no one's made a game that basically works with Tinder mechanics.
I've seen it, and you pick cards. Yeah, stuff like that.
Yeah, you just swipe left or right. That's all you do. But it fundamentally changes the narrative as you go.
I love games like that to chill to. And obviously, like a good old RTS, like Dawn of War or Age of Empires 2, or
satisfying building stuff, isn't it? Like building up a huge army, turtle for a bit, and then just send it and watch everything explode and die.
I think Red Alert 3 comes to mind. Red Alert's I can just sit there and laugh at a game and be like, "It's so funny, Tim Curry." Yeah. But that's pretty much what I play to relax. I think I play a lot of multiplayer games or co-op games to relax. Cool. It's just like I can turn my brain off, and usually, there's not a lot of urgency, I guess. Whereas single player, I like to put my headphones on, sit there and focus. Where I'm like, this is my game. Whereas other games, I can just shoot things. But yeah,
cool. I mean, I think I've got a couple of choices of stuff, and they're kind of a combination of both of you guys. I remember, actually, Eddie, it was you that was when we had the podcast episode about horror.
Yeah.
I think it was. And you were mentioning how you found like horror games quite relaxing to play.
Yeah, cozy.
Yeah, cozy games. I feel like that about Souls games, funny enough.
Yeah.
Not Elden Ring so much, like the earlier ones, like especially the original Dark Souls, like the very first Dark Souls, even with all this jank. I found that such a comforting game to play because this was before they introduced any mechanics where any of the enemies move. Like they're just glued to the spot, and you enter an area, and then that you being there triggers them attacking you and stuff. But
Dark Recruit Basing comes to mind.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Once you've played that game a few times, like it's really comforting because I know exactly where all the enemies are and exactly what they're going to do when they get there. It's just like it's almost like going through the motions, but like kind of playing a game, and it's because there's so much muscle memory. I played so many Souls games now. It's just like just going back into like I can just let my body just play this game and it'll just do it by itself. Almost.
I can hear the kill noise where you go like killing things,
or the boom, ching, like parry noise.
It's like there's something comforting about the familiarity of a pattern, and I think that there's lots of different games and different genres that do that, but there are like particular ones. So the one you just mentioned there, for me, two of mine would be the Resident Evil 2 remake and also Pokemon Red and Blue. Like they're two very different games, but they have the nostalgia and familiarity of pattern. Like they have patterns that are fun to discover, but also just as fun to remember somehow. Yeah.
I think you nailed it with the nostalgia stuff as well, because that's a big one for a lot of people. Like when I think of like relaxing games, a lot of the times I'll think Oblivion, like Elder Scrolls.
Yeah, Elder Scrolls is good just because the Jeremy Souls score.
Yeah, the soundtrack.
As soon as it starts playing, it's
so
like
it's like big low poly green field.
And I think the fantasy genre, like the high fantasy or medieval fantasy genre, really lends itself to some weird feelings of comfort, even though it works well with horror as well. And there are some very challenging games that fall within that genre aesthetic. I don't know. There's something about castles and sprawling ivy and stuff that I just love.
I love fantasy.
It's romanticism, I guess, isn't it? Like, especially if you're. I mean, we're all British on this podcast, so we have the castles.
I basically grew up in a castle, so
Kenilworth Castle.
Yeah.
So maybe it's a national identity thing as well.
Yeah, I think a little bit. Yeah.
While we're talking about fantasy, there's like a theory that I quite like. It's everyone is either has dwarven aesthetics or elven aesthetics. And same here.
And then pointy-eared lady over there, it's definitely elven.
I wish I was an elf. My family's always saying I'm a hobbit.
Is that because your hairy feet, Ellie?
So many reasons.
She eats bread with leaves. But
how do you know?
We'll have to know. Wait, the camera's there. And like, while we're on it, what's everyone's favourite like fantasy race? If you had to like pick one,
I would pick Dark Elves.
I like,
but in Elder Scrolls anyway, like Dark Elves, because they have the destruction magic innate ability. I just like throwing fireballs out of my wrists.
Yeah.
I did like the most disturbing character I've ever made was like like you can go onto, this is a bit off topic here, but this is a little anecdote. You can go onto like websites where it tells you what sliders to put in character creation to get certain people. I went on one of those and I was like, I want to make an orc because I haven't played as an orc before on Elder Scrolls, and I want to have a female character because I usually play as a male character for some reason on Elder Scrolls as well. So I want a female orc, and I was like, how am I I can't be asked to like spend ages on these sliders, and I found like a slider pattern to make Beyonce, but like in the Elder Scrolls. Nice. So I sat there on the orc slider just sliding all these things, and I made like Beyonce but green. And then I thought to make it more like an orc Beyonce, I just protruded her jaw like loads, so she had like massive tusks. And it was the most disturbing character. I played with it for about 2 or 3 hours, and it was like every time she was facing away from the camera, it was like Beyonce with Beyonce's booty, and then you turn around and Beyonce with a massive protruding tusks. And I'm like, and she's like green. It was too disturbing. I had such conflicted feelings for that character that I had to just delete it. So not orcs, but definitely maybe Dark Elves or something.
What about you, Ellie?
I don't know. Because I love so many different things, like aspects about all the different like characters that come to mind. Like I've played some Dungeons and Dragons, and I love the Lord of the Rings and Rings of Power and the Hobbit, and I love I don't know. I suppose that Game of Thrones doesn't necessarily have as many different races, I guess. But I love the whole genre, whether it's high fantasy or medieval fantasy or whatever, and all of these different races and things. And I think my thoughts go towards elves and wood elves, but then I think about, well, you got the elves, but then like what about fairies and nymphs? And then I'm like, but I do like hobbits. I just love all of them. Every single kind of character has something amazing about it, and I just
she's so full of whimsy.
Me?
Whimsical. Yeah, you're whimsical. There you go. That's all right.
I like fantasy cave on the camera.
So I think for me, it's like, if it's humanoid, I love me dwarves. Simple as, right?
See, you give Argonian vibes to me.
But really. That's where I was going. There's like an in-joke with a lot of my friends, and if they're listening now, Argonians is best, right?
I knew it.
We swim faster. That's the book. Yeah, I love like the weirdos, man. I love goblins, like little freaks. Goblins. I love dwarves for like Warhammery dwarves, where they're just like really like steampunky, and they're like, we live in mountains and we hate everyone. And then I love goblins who are weirdos, who are like, launch me in a catapult and stuff like that. But
I love like goblin kind of like their characteristic behaviors and silly, like they're kind of like they're painted as or portrayed as being villainous and very dangerous and things, but they have this kind of mischievous side as well.
Yeah, that's what I like. I just,
do you remember the goblins and Noddy? They were great.
Yeah. Horrifying.
I know. Yeah. And I just want to add one other thing in there, because we touched on Tolkien as well, or the works of Tolkien and what's come from them as well. Even the way that men, like as in human beings, are portrayed within his works and all the other works that have come from what he started with. It's interesting because I think there's times within those films and TV shows and things where we almost get to see an insight of mankind from another perspective of someone who might not be mankind, and that can add mystery to our own species. But also, we see good and bad and crossovers of both. And I just think that the way that the whole world and stories are depicted are wonderful, because there's just so much depth and exploration of not just fantasy worlds, but exploration of what it is, again, to be human. And I don't know, the way that means that we interact differently with each other, or our own beliefs, or conflicted beliefs, or beliefs of what we think of others or the world around us. And that's what I just really love about it all. I'll shut up now.
No. We love fantasy, but no, I think you've really hit the nail on the head with that. We can tell a lot of stories through these different races and stuff that can also show the human side of who we are and stuff. But also, Argonians are best. What was the question? What are we going on about now?
Relaxation games.
Yeah.
Okay, well that was relaxing. Our new podcast, The Fantasy Hour, we're going to be talking about fantasy.
The other one I was going to mention before we go to the next question is also because, and again, Eddie sort of touched it already when we were talking about the Wipeout and stuff. Games that get you in the zone, that kind of get you like just entranced. And for me, it's like puzzle games. I don't mean like puzzle games like Portal and stuff, but like literally like Tetris or Lumines. There's a thing called the Tetris effect. There's a thing called the Tetris effect, which is what the game's named after.
I was going to say that's the game, isn't it?
Yeah, but the Tetris effect is a measurable scientific thingy, which is that if you play Tetris for long enough, you sort of dream in Tetris. Like you just dream the blocks fitting together.
Oh, yeah.
Because your brain gets almost like wired to like, like your brain starts thinking in Tetris blocks.
Would you say it's like a form of meditation then?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 100%.
It's like a trance meditation. I've had dreams where I have spent too much time playing a game in real life and then dreamt only that game at night, but I was still like hear the music and everything and have the same objective that I had in the game.
I've had that too.
Yeah. I kind of don't like
we play games late at night as well.
You wake up really tired, don't you? Because you haven't
you wake up and disappointed that like I completed that quest. No, wait a second, no, I completed it in a dream. I gotta still go and complete it.
There's a really famous like story that was written down somewhere about that. There's a guy who like played Skyrim like all day, every day for like months and months, and he was on about he had to quit because he went to a park and he saw a butterfly and he was like, oh, I can grab that. And he went to grab it. And like he said in his head, he could like picture like press E to grab, and he's like, and then he's like, what am I doing? And you know what? I have that a lot where I'll be walking around for me as well.
You got like a hood that appears in front of you.
Yeah, it would just be little things like that where I'll be walking around and I'm just like, this is my objective. Or there's like a nature reserve near where I live, and I'll walk around there and just wander about and be like, this is an adventure.
It's when you like stub your toe or paper cut yourself and a health bar appears. You start getting worried.
You do really good stories on Instagram of that kind of thing happening, though. And that's like one of my favourite things to see on the internet is you just in a video game in reality.
When I first moved here, I think that's what I said. I was like, I'm a PS2 pro tag from now on. And I just walk around like a PS2 RPG character now. It's a simple life.
Is uni going to level you up? That you're going to go PS3 and then PS4 and then?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
We might just keep going backwards.
Yeah, I'm just a pixel.
Yeah. You know, when you said about Tetris Effect, that's the one where it's got the really nice soundtrack, isn't it?
That's part of it as well, I think. But both. I mean, when I think about these games,
the song is so good. I love it.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah. The first one, the first zone, yeah. But like, Lumines was the big one actually. Like, the Tetris Effect is made by the same guy. I can't remember his name now. My brain is turning into mush. But like, the guy who did Rez. You guys played Rez?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and that same guy did Rez. Did Tetris Effect. He also did Lumines. Lumines is probably my favorite game of his. And have you guys played Lumines? Or know
No, I've not heard of it.
I've heard of it, but I haven't played.
There's a few of them. Like they came out first on the PSP. There was like 2 games on the PSP, and then they remastered. I think Lumines 1. You can get Lumines remastered on pretty much everything, and Switch, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, or PC. But it works by basically it's like a puzzle block game, kind of like Tetris-ish. But you have to like just land these blocks down. They've got physics they can fall. And like you have to make squares of like 4 or 8 or 6, whatever. But they don't disappear until this like line hits them, and the line speed is dictated by the music that's playing, and the fall speed of the blocks is also dictated by the music. So like as you play the game, and it's all skinned, it looks beautiful like Tetris Effect. So as you're playing it, it would start to change skins, and the music will change, and the line will go faster, and the things will start falling faster. But then the game starts to try and trip you up by maybe dropping the blocks slower, because the blocks are dropping by one part of the track, but the line's still going with the bass line, and that's going faster. You know, so it kind of mixes up as it goes along. But it's a really weird game because it's kind of really challenging to get through it the first time. But when you finish the game, in quotes, it just loops back to the start, but it carries on with the same speed, and it keeps looping and looping, and it keeps mixing it up. But eventually, you just don't lose. You basically have to turn the game off, because you get so in the zone that you can't think anymore. It's going too fast to actually think, like, there's a block coming down, I need to put it here, then the line will hit it. You literally, your hands are just moving. You can even play it like by looking away and like just looking around the room, like you're just playing this game. It's so weird. I used to play a game so much that I would basically just like live Lumines. Like my hands would just play the game independently of my brain. I could do something else and just play this game. It's so weird, but like that game is just so relaxing in that way.
I don't think I should touch that.
Yeah,
it's great. It's really good. It's such a good game.
I'll have to check out. I've never heard of Lumines before.
I'll let you try that.
It's brilliant. Yeah. I think we might probably get one more question time today.
Why not?
One more question.
Why not? We'll treat the listener.
The last one comes from J.L. Flannery, who happens to be my other half. Yeah, so shout out to J.L. Flannery. So Jen. It's a good question. I wanted to finish with this, actually. We can tackle some of the other questions in our next episode. But this one is, given the Bayonetta voiceover controversy, and maybe someone might have to fill our listeners in, because this is quite a recent thing.
I followed it.
Yeah, well, you can... I'll jump onto you in a second, Aaron. You can take us through it. But the Bayonetta voiceover controversy and the inclusion of more Hollywood actors in modern games, how important is performance capture upon player experience? So how important? Because obviously, it's something that is in the Game Awards as the best performance category, and there are video game voice actors, aren't there, specifically that do video game voice acting? But there is also this proliferation recently of trying to get Hollywood stars into as recognizable names. Rowan, do you want to lead in with this? First of all, with the Bayonetta voiceover controversy, what's going on there?
Okay, so it was how we people say a whole thing. So it was a whole thing. So basically, Helena Taylor, I think the original actress was called. A lot of people,
brilliant, pretty good.
Yeah, she's great. She's like a classically trained, like more of like a thespian actor, from what I read.
Bayonetta darling.
She feels like a fucking celebrity, but all that stuff. Like she's great. And a lot of people kind of were like, "This is my voice actor." As a Sonic person, get used to changing. There's a lot. But, you know, she encapsulated the character, and I think she was very attached to that character as well, because she kind of made a brand off it, where it was like, you know, I am Bayonetta.
Yeah, she played Bayonetta in Bayonetta 1, 2, and the anime as well.
And I think the Smash Bros. Stuff as well. She was with that.
Yeah.
So obviously very important to her. But then it came out that she was being replaced by another actress. I forgot her name, but she's like the go-to standard for like the Voice Actors Guild.
Is it Jennifer Hale?
It's Jennifer Hale, I think, yeah. Which she's solid as well, like amazing. And she's a big actress. She's when you think of like voice actors, you've got like Jennifer Hale, you've got
Ashley Birch,
that was one, and then obviously Troy Baker and stuff like that. She was being the replacement, and everyone was like, what is that? And then for ages everyone was like, she must not have been asked. And then she came out basically saying, boycott the game.
She was very angry, wasn't she?
She was fuming. There was a massive Twitter thread of her videos, and everyone was on her side at first, because everyone was like, yeah, huge corporation. Not really, it's Platinum, they're kind of small.
Got a bit skewed in the whole argument, didn't it, at first?
Yeah. She was saying, I was offered like pennies. I think the original amount, $4,000 for the entire thing, she said. And she was like, you know, this is a joke, boycott it, donate it to a charity, you know, don't play the game. About a week or two before the game released.
Yeah.
And then Platinum didn't really handle it very well. The head of Platinum, Hideki Naganuma, I think.
Was it Kamiya that as well?
Oh, Kamiya, yeah. No, I think Naganuma's the good one. He's the music for Jet Set. Sorry, he's good Hideki. He's Uncle Hideki. Yeah, so he's notorious for blocking people on Twitter. He calls English language speakers insects. Yeah, he's
not a fan of our podcast, probably.
Probably not. No, he has rules. You have to read his rules. He did not handle the situation well. He basically blocked everyone who was like at him saying, "Pay your voice actress," you know, and you know, workers' rights and stuff, which is a big ordeal, especially for voice actors in, especially games. To be fair, not paid great, and a lot of people, it will go on to this later, don't really see the value of voice actors. As someone, I'm in a mini voice acting guild thing. I've worked on 2 projects. I cannot talk about them. Secrets. NDAs, and they probably won't come out. But basically, everyone was on her side. Everyone was like, yeah, you know, she's Bayonetta. I'm not going to play a game if it's not my Bayonetta. And then it came out, she lied. It came out she lied. She lied quite a lot. She said originally she was offered like $4,000 for the entire thing, and then it came out it was like, no, you're doing a cameo, and we were going to offer you like $4,000 per session.
Yeah, which was, I think it's quite a lot, wasn't it? Like about $30,000, doesn't it?
Yeah, and then she backtracked and said, no, it wasn't that. I haven't got the facts, so you know, don't sue me. But yeah, originally she was like, no, okay, maybe it was this much, but you know, it's still bad. And everyone was like, but you said it was like below standard, you're getting paid nothing. And then whatever people's political views are, you know, that's what it is. She's a huge Tory. You know, is what it is. I'm not here to talk about that. I talk about games.
They're not in the best light at the moment, are they? The Conservative Party after.
Not really. I don't think the
2022 has been a bad year for them.
A little bit. But also, a lot of the charities were questionable. There were a lot of anti-abortion charities and stuff like that that she wanted you to donate the money to. And then she's said a lot of derogatory terms and things like that. It's basically, you know, when the big wall hits, a lot of bricks fall, you know.
Yeah, it backfired on her, didn't it? Like big time.
Hugely. So everyone who's on her side quickly went, oh shit. Like, we're on the wrong team.
See, I'd only heard the first part of that up until just before she lied. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's interesting.
She did quite a lot of damage, yeah, but like I think she didn't think that Platinum or Nintendo. Nintendo just stayed quiet the entire time, because that's usually the best PR method. Is just
say nothing.
Don't say anything, and it'll just blow over anyway. But people aren't going to boycott the game. That never happens. No. People aren't going to cancel pre-orders. That never happens.
It backfired for her quite majorly. First of all, she said Bayonetta is like a multi-billion-dollar franchise or something. I was like, no. I was like, I don't know if you played any Platinum game. None of them are. You know, probably.
She wanted like, because they said they were going to give her a one-off payment. I think it was like again, same as you, Rowan. I haven't got the facts on me, but I think it was about 30 grand. But she also wanted a percentage. She wanted like royalties, percentage cut of the game. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because like she says, like she's that integral to the Bayonetta series because of her voice that she should get some kind of royalties on the game because it sells so many millions of copies. And so they were like, it doesn't, like, it actually loses money. It loses money. That's why Sega dropped it and Nintendo had to pick it up.
Most of the sales were, you know, on sale. You know, that's what most people got it. She said a lot of things that were just false, and then there was a lot of questionable things she's done. And the head of Platinum handled it awfully. You know, he like got his account deleted. He was like blocking people. He was silencing people, and then he
PR mess.
He was making like weird posts being like the Phoenix will rise, and everyone's like, what are you talking about? It was just bad on both ends. But I think the bad thing was to come out of this is a lot of people, it took away from the argument of you should pay. I
was going to say that. Yeah,
you should pay your voice actors, and they should have, you know, protection. A lot of the games industry in general, you should have protection. You should, you know, there's not really like guilds and unions for a lot of this stuff.
Not a lot of stuff. I mean, there's a voice actors guild, isn't there? But
there's a guild, but you're not protected by anything.
Yeah, the problem is that again, this is one of those things where I'm just remembering things I've read.
Yeah,
but like the voice actors guild, I think the thing that they've got negotiated currently is that if you like physically appear in something, like you're an actor on screen, that you can command a higher, you know, sort of paycheck than if you just record your voice. So if you do performance capture as well, then you can justifiably ask for more money. Yeah. If it's just your voice, then there are sort of limits and stuff that they've got imposed. Like it's like, well, there's a really low, there's a crap. Like,
it's like using your likeness, isn't it? Like, you know, your voice and your likeness. But I think we'll get onto it. But it was a shit show, and it backfired on her because a lot of the people were like, "I'm boycotting it." I was seeing posts of people like, "I brought it 4 times just to spite you." So that's the rundown. That's the drama.
I think the main thing as well, wasn't it, is when she started throwing shade at Jennifer Hale.
Yeah, I heard about that. I don't think that's very nice.
It's like, that's not very professional. No. I mean, you're both people in the same industry trying to make a
friendly fire, like it's blue on blue. It's like you're both working together, and that's why I think it took away from voice actors. That was one of the big issues.
And Jennifer Hale, obviously, like bless her, like is an absolute professional. So she just basically put on, you know, like everyone be nice to each other, don't attack Helena. You know, please don't start attack me. I've had loads of hate mail. You know, just try and let it work out itself behind closed doors with the Actors Guild and
it turned into
rather than taking it into a public bloodbath on Twitter.
It turned into a lot of piss and vinegar real quick.
It did, yeah.
Vinegar.
Who wants vinegar on their chips? Give me a nice bottle of piss.
Oh yeah. So good Jen, not bad Jen. Wait, no, they're both good Jen. Sorry, Jen. Asked about the importance of actors, right?
Yeah, about because this whole thing, wasn't it, is that she is Bayonetta. So is that game now diminished, that the voice actor's different? And then how important are voice actors to characters in games? And then how do we feel about the Hollywoodization of it?
I think definitely there's some games where a lot of people go, if this actor's not in it, I'm not playing it. Or, they're that iconic, you think you're Snake, David Hayter.
I was going to say, damn it.
Yeah. So we'll get on to that in a sec then. But there's like the Legacy of Kain series. Every voice actor in that, perfect. And the one that I noticed when I was younger was Sam Fisher from Splinter Cell.
Right.
They changed his voice actor.
Oh, yeah, and they got him... Didn't they get the original one
They got him back now.
Yeah.
So there's one game, it's called Blacklist, where Sam Fisher's like 60 in that game. And he's just like, I'm an American dude. And it's like, that's not Sam Fisher. Like, and as soon as I played the game, I was like, what? That's not you. And it can take away from games. I think if a character has played someone for like 10 years... I think definitely there should be some protection behind that, and that's their character. But you've also got to think, there's different languages, there's different...
Yeah.
There's a lot into it, and it's a very complicated thing to talk about. As for, like, celebrity voices, when done well, I think a celebrity voice should be a voice you don't recognise. You should be like, wait, that's...
it's almost the opposite of how they use it, isn't it? Because it's like they're kind of almost used to give games legitimacy, like films. Like, we got Norman Reedus, and we got
Chris Pratt Mario.
Yeah. Do you reckon Chris Pratt would voice a Mario game? Surely not.
No, I don't know. I don't want him to.
After the film, they'll be like, get Chris Pratt in.
It's rough.
Jack Black as Bowser, that'd be pretty cool.
See, it's a very. Speaking of Jack Black, there's a good game that does this. It's Brutal Legend.
Oh yeah, he did some soundtrack for that.
And there's like Lemmy, sorry, not Lemmy. Lemmy?
From Motorhead.
Yeah. Is it Lemmy?
Yeah. Lemmy, yeah.
Yeah, so he's in it. He's fucking awful, right? His performance is bad. He's just going, yeah, fucking... But because he's there, you're happy to see him, and you're like, oh my God, it's you. And Ozzy Osbourne's in it. And he's great in it, but again, it's like they're slurring, they're
There's old rock stars that kind of
I think, but they won't. I mean, I think Lemmy is dead, but I think it's all the context of the game and stuff, because coming into like Metal Gear Solid, it was Keith Sutherland for 5.
Yeah, I mean, Eddie, you can say you're going to talk about Metal Gear Solid. What are you going to say about it?
Not much. I mean, okay.
Have you played Metal Gear Solid 5?
No. Okay, so basically, I've played 1, so as in 1 on the PlayStation, not there was like 1 on the Game Boy, right? So 1 and 2, Sons of Liberty, and 3, Snake Eater. Those are the only ones that I've played. I've played them multiple times. I absolutely adore them. And then I kind of fell off it, and I don't know if that was because maybe I didn't have the consoles that they were then being released onto. Probably that.
PS3.
Yeah, but I was going to ask, is it at that point where David Hayter then...
No, it was literally like, I guess why it was controversial, because Metal Gear Solid 5 is the only one that hasn't got David Hayter in it.
Yeah.
So it did Metal Gear Solid 4, it did Portable Ops 1 and 2,
and where was it
Acid.
That Hideo started not being part of it? Because like...
End of 5.
During and after 5,
Yeah.
5 was like the cluster beat.
So
5's technically not finished.
Maybe I would like 4 then, if I tried it.
You'd like 5. Like, personally speaking, Metal Gear Solid 3 is probably my favourite.
I love it.
Probably one of the best games ever made.
I want to eat snakes.
Oh, yeah.
My second favourite Metal Gear Solid is Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain.
I don't mean like that, by the way. I
want to eat snake.
Oh. Well.
I mean it.
Yeah, no. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Anyway, what were we talking about?
Metal Gear Solid.
Metal Gear Solid 5 is good.
That's right.
It is a good game.
Yeah.
It's a great game. I said it's my second favourite Metal Gear. Like, it's only not finished in terms of like some of the plot threads, like the what's his name? It's like a
Mantis.
Yeah, his kind of backstory is left unfinished. But the actual like connective tissue that connects Metal Gear Solid 5 to Metal Gear 1 on the MSX and NES, that's all finished. And so like 5 does the job of basically looping everything, so it's all complete. So 5 ends everything, it's done.
I don't want to do spoilers, but there's a way they really should have put David Hayter in the game.
Oh, yeah, there is. Yeah, there's kind of like I guess there's not. You'd say like law reasons why he's not in the game, but it's not really like
it's not great.
It's just but I don't know. I think that was Kojima's kind of point, wasn't it? Where he's just like, I want to work with Hollywood stars because it gives me star power. So,
I think he's got a bit of a thing for that. It's like he collects them. Have you seen his podcast? It's like, it's me with blah, 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 and me with blah, blah, blah. And
Jordan Peele and stuff.
Yeah, but I'm always like, it feels really
I think
weird how
his bio is like, my body is like 90% movies or something like that. He loves it.
I know that he loves movies. Like, I get that. But there's a character, I think this is right. There was a character in, I think it was like the 5th Harry Potter book or the 6th one. There's this Slughorn. He becomes a professor, but he's got this weird fascination with people with celebrity status. And it's like he collects them by getting to know them. And he wants to socialize with them in some way. And it's like that. It's like he's like collecting them.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think you're right. Yeah. He does it a lot.
It's weird. He did it with churches, Grind
Horizon.
But it's cool in a way as well, though, because he ends up being able to curate his collection whilst also building rapport with them so that he can then work with them, whether it's musicians or actors or whatever, which works. But it's kind of creepy how it happens at the same time.
Man's got connections. But as for like Hollywood actors and stuff, like Norman Reedus, great. Like in Death Stranding, amazing. Yeah. He's great.
Yeah. I think Hollywood actors in there, as we move into this, I think it's a different discipline, basically, where I'm going to come from. Is that like when we're talking about full performance capture for games, as in like you're capturing everything, you're capturing their movement, facial expressions, the whole acting, experience, whatever, then you can see how Hollywood actors or these big name actors, they add a lot to the game because voice actors aren't necessarily used to doing work like that because they're not in front of a camera. They're not like capturing film as you traditionally would. But then in the same way, when you get like Hollywood actors that are just doing a voice role, they're not doing full performance capture. Again, that's not their forte. That's not their specialism. They don't sit in front of a booth. And
you've made a really good point there. And what I'm going to bring up isn't games, but it's the first Transformers movie. They got, I think it's Hugo Weaving out of The Matrix.
Yeah.
Right. To play who? Like, who's he play?
Megatron.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
it's been a long time since I've seen Transformers. I kind of blanked it as much as possible.
So no one dislikes Transformers more than Hugo Weaving. He's on point of saying, I refuse to come in. You guys come to me. I'll record my lines in my house. He's like, I don't care what a Transformer is. I don't give a shit what's going on. I'm going to record my lines and get out. I don't care about anything. And then you've got people like, at the minute, I think having a lot of passion, people who come in to do motion capture, like you said, they're putting their whole personality and self into it. They clearly care enough to show up and be like, okay, I'm going to scan and become a character.
Yeah.
And I respect that a lot. I also think classically trained voice actors are really important because David Hayter is Snake. I'm sorry, he is. Like, there's not really anyone else where I come to mind. I'm like, oh, that's Snake. I'm not going to think, oh, Kiefer Sutherland's Snake. I'm like, no, that's the 24 guy. Yeah, it's David, always David. And I think it matters on, again, how the game is. So performance capture, I can look at Norman Reedus' character, Sam, right? Please.
I think it's Bridges. Yeah,
Sam Bridges. Sam Porter Bridges.
Sam Porter Bridges, yeah, exactly.
When I see that, I'm like, at first I was like, oh, it's Norman Reedus. But then he acts that well in the game and it's that emotionally connected and he cared that much, you can tell. I'm like, no, that's Sam Porter Bridges, And I think that's really important, I think.
See, like, in a way, like, it's interesting in Death Stranding because it kind of makes the case for both, because you've got someone like Norman Reedus who does the whole, like he is the performance capture, he is the facial capture, and he is the voice capture, and then you got someone like Guillermo del Toro, and that's not Guillermo del Toro's voice. It's like it might not even be his performance capture. It's definitely his likeness that got scanned in, but Conan, like Guillermo del Toro,
Conan O'Brien,
Conan,
showing up.
And also as well, Nicholas Winding Refn, the director of Drive.
Yeah.
Again, like he's got a really strong, Scandinavian accent from Denmark, I think it is. And they just got a completely different voice actor to do some American.
That's what I mean. They're both important. They're both important.
Yeah, the sequel, and equally as well. Like, sorry, I'll come to one sec, but like, before I forget it, Hellblade. We mentioned Hellblade earlier in this podcast, unless that was in the bad bit that got cut. But like, the Hellblade, that woman in Hellblade, she won tons of awards for her like performance. She won loads of like BAFTA awards, Game Awards. She was just one of the game developers at the start of that project. Like she was like, I think she was she like, I don't know if she was the developer. She might have been just like in HR or something like that. I can't remember now.
But she definitely wasn't. I know she's a part of the team though.
Yeah. She was definitely not like a performance capture artist or an actor, like a stage actor. But her performance is incredible.
Sometimes that's what you need, though. Sometimes you need someone who you've never heard of.
Exactly. Yeah. So maybe having like, we need full performance capture. We'll get these Hollywood guys in because they know what they're doing. That's not always necessarily going to be the case, is it? Because she
smashed it.
Should have done a bad job, but she did an amazing job. It was incredible.
I think it's interesting how voice acting is an element of games which I think is often overlooked by a good portion of gamers, I think. But if you look at certain franchises or certain characters, and if you think about this kind of thing, I mean, S3 obviously do, like we read about this stuff a lot. If you look at certain things, there are voice actors that have, I think, in parts due to their talents and efforts, actually helped to create the fan bases very strongly for those characters. Because like if I think about I know I always talk about it, but Resident Evil Village, and we have Lady Dimitrescu, and we have Heisenberg, and we have the Duke. Those characters are so good, but they're already good, but the voice actors really absolutely bring them to life. If I hear the Duke's voice, I'm just like, oh my god, he's talking. And like on the DLC, the Winter's expansion, and for me, like where I really discovered this fandom and love of those particular characters was on Tumblr, and the love for them on there is like, I personally have not seen anything like it before, other than like, I guess I was more used to things like the realms of Pokemon and stuff like that, but like the love for it is crazy. There's so much fan art. People want to just see so much more of those characters, and I really think it is because of the voice actors, the way they brought them to life.
100%. Yeah, the woman that played Lady Dimitrescu, is her name Alcina? Is that her name?
I think so.
Alcina Dimitrescu.
Yes.
Yeah, she was blown away, wasn't she? Because like she wasn't really like in high profile, like no one really knew that much about her. And then people found her out, and they would like message her on Twitter, just going, "I love your voice acting, you're so amazing." She's like, "Well, it's like it's just crazy,
they've
like
just done
how much love I'm getting here."
They've just done some cons recently, and it's nice to see the photos of the actors stood together, and they're having such a good time smiling. It's like they do deserve that. It's nice to see that genre of actors within acting, if that makes sense, like gaming voice actors getting some recognition in such a positive way.
I think as well with their performances, you've smashed what you've said. 100% agree. There's certain characters, games that are like ran-off characters, like that's my main. You've got Team Fortress, like all of their characters, iconic voices, and everyone's different. You got stuff like Overwatch as well. People like identify with that character because they've got that voice, and it's that performance where it's like, I'm this, this is my main because, and then you see him at a con, you're like, that's the guy who does the thing, or that's the lady who says that, And there's even little performances like things that transcend what they need to be, like Age of Empires 2. There's the little priests, and they go wololo. Whoever did that, I don't know who did that. Good job, because I joke about that every day. And I think voice actors are really important, and people don't give them enough credit for what they do.
I just love to be like the first person shooter guy that makes all the like hit by bullet noises and jumping over things.
There's a documentary about I haven't watched it, but I know there's a documentary about the Roblox like oof noise.
A documentary about it.
Yeah, because they had to remove it for some reason. I haven't read up too much into it, but yeah, I think
maybe the voice actor did a Helena Taylor. Like, yeah, I am Roblox.
I am Roblox.
Without me, that oof is nothing.
Yeah, I think what Ellie said, really good point. 100%.
I guess this is why people kicked off over the Super Mario movie, isn't it? It's that to lots of people there was already voice actors that did. Charles Martinet.
You have Charles Martinet. Now you got two ways I think you could do that. You could go old Super Mario, bro, the gruff like Luigi kind of voice, or you could go Charles Martinet,
like Bob Hoskins.
Yeah, I would have loved it. I would have brought that. But when it's just like I'm Chris Pratt Mario, it's like no.
Yeah, I'm sure Chris Pratt is great. Whatever. But he doesn't have to be in everything.
No.
Yeah, he does. That's what Hollywood think.
I don't know why.
He'll be the next Sonic. He'll play both roles.
Would he ever be ugly Sonic?
Yeah.
By the way, have you guys seen the Chipmunks movie?
Chipmunks movie?
Yeah, I think the new one. The new one.
No, I haven't. I basically watched it like through Twitter clips of Ugly Sonic.
Oh, there was. I don't want to spoil it, but like. I don't know. Can I? Do you think you'll see it?
I don't think anyone cares.
Okay, so basically, Ugly Sonic is in the film, and I literally feel so bad for him.
Really?
Yeah.
The one that they kind of originally released, and everyone was like, eh.
Yeah, because like when we all saw Ugly Sonic, I was like, oh no, what? This is wrong and hideous, and they should change it. But then I saw
his weird teeth.
Yeah, and then I saw that film, and like he's so like. Angrily insecure, and like I'm like I just want to protect him. I don't care.
I think
I remember you could get plushies of that, couldn't you? Like someone, I think it was Netsy or someone.
I've got one.
Plushies of like.
I've got the original.
Have you actually got one?
I haven't got it on me, but I've got one. They were selling them. That was going to be the Sonic. Yeah. They were selling them in like Toys R Us.
They made all the plushies before they got all the controversy.
I want
That's
ugly
hilarious.
Sonic to know he's not ugly. He's beautiful.
Go buy a plushie.
Don't be angry and insecure and sad. He's so cute.
While we're on a little tangent, this also kind of goes into not voice actors, but actors. There's in that movie, I read a thing because Peter Pan's in it, and he's like this like has been like fat, overgrown, like he's like really resentful. Apparently, the actual voice actor for the original Peter Pan became like a drug addict and stuff because once he went through puberty, they were like, "We don't need you anymore." And that was a joke about that, and I think he ended up.
There was a lot of stuff kicked off about that.
Yeah, I read that. So not great. But
before we wrap it up, because we're going to have to wrap it up now, guys. But Sonic Frontiers, no mention whatsoever in any award ceremony. I haven't played it yet. That's on my list of things to play.
Do you think it's because it has only just come out? And
so it's God of War Ragnarok. Though. It was they're only about a week apart, I think. Well, no, they were a day apart, weren't they? Like Sonic came out the day before Ragnarok.
I heard Sonic is very okay, and I heard God of War Ragnarok is a 10. So that might be why.
Yeah, you reckon it just got overshadowed? I'm just surprised not to see it anywhere. Like not in one mention anywhere. Like you think like normally there'd be a mention somewhere, just to kind of like tick the box of like. We've given that company a nod, therefore
I think that
everyone's happy.
I think that people were so hyped for Ragnarok, and then Sonic literally came out like right after. It came out at the wrong time, and even though Sonic is a hugely loved and well-known franchise by many different ages and whatever, I think that the hype was there more for Ragnarok, and I just think it's just come out at the wrong time.
Yeah.
Can I just say
I'm going to play it after. Like I've got lined up. Finish Ragnarok. And then play Sonic.
You did a really unintentional pun there, and it made me laugh. You said Sonic got overshadowed.
Oh yeah.
And then I went, my brain was like, funny. But before we go, shall we all do a voice actor impression? Shall we do that? I don't think anyone wants to do that. If you want.
I love doing voices. Like I'm always like people always saying to me like you need to do like voice acting or something. But I'm not good at being put on the spot because I don't know who am I going to do. I don't know.
I'll do Snake, but he has a big bum.
Let me close my eyes.
What?
So this is a shit post. This is for the.
Okay, now I'm gonna close my eyes too and try and listen to.
For whoever's been listening throughout the podcast.
Oh, not yet.
This is for you.
And then this is the end of the podcast. Very good.
Colonel.
Oh my god.
I'm sneaking around, but the clap of my ass cheeks keep alerting the guards. Colonel. There you go.
Okay, on that note, guys, we'll wrap it up.
It's very late and I'm very drunk.
Before we go, I've actually got a talent of my own to show. I did some doodling earlier.
Is it safe for work?
It is. Okay. Yeah. You're going to hate me, though.
Oh, no. Oh, God. What is this?
I drew you.
Me?
It's really, really bad. So I'm going to show it from further away. It's not good. It's like a 2-minute doodle.
Looks like his name's Nifrin.
I mean, it's not bad. It's actually pretty good.
His name's Nifrin. I like it. Nifrin.
Yeah, I like it.
It's
must be the new podcast logo.
Yeah, I'll send it to you later. There you go.
Thank you. Right, it's been a pleasure, guys. It's very late.
Yes.
Technical issues mean we've actually been recording this for hours now. People that are listening, so we're going delirious. So you're going to call it a day. But thank you so much for joining me again.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks for having us.
And chatting about games. We've got some questions we're going to spill over to next time. I think next one, it might be a Christmassy episode because we have got a Christmassy question. So we might start to talk gifts and Christmas experiences. And so tune in for that one because that should be wholesome. Wholesome AF.
AF.
Right. Take care, guys.
Adios.